by the way, wanted to say thank you very much to Charlie Chan for these beautiful nitrile gloves. Nitrile gloves have returned! My normal supplier does not have nitrile gloves, and all the places that I usually buy them from are sold out or price gouging. So he got me a set of purple gloves. Look like a happy little Disney character. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see if we can fix this MacBook Air. So the first thing we're going to do is turn on my power supply. Just get my power supply software on. Can you please repair New York City, Lewis? No, I can't. I cannot fix New York City at all, nor can anybody else. So we have 25% of the renters have not paid their rent since March. That's with, and now keep in mind, we have a moratorium on evictions right now, which is pretty much a joke since there's no moratorium on property taxes. So the landlords are they're gonna jump on that the moment that they are back, can start evicting again. And we also have the CARES Act giving people, I believe, $600 a week in unemployment during the time that they can't work. Once evictions are back and the $600 a week unemployment is taken away and the lockdowns are still in session, and even if the lockdowns end, most of those companies may not be coming back, oh man, you've got a nice little recipe there for an absolute and utter chaos. And that's going to be interesting. I feel genuinely bad for what's going to be happening to the city over the next few months, but I cannot imagine that any of it is going to be good. I mean, again, I'm one of those people where I'm a pessimist, but I also hope I'm wrong. I actually enjoy being proven wrong as a pessimist, because if I'm proven wrong as a pessimist, that means that something good happened. So I really, really hope that I am proven wrong. Anyway, let's see what this MacBook does. So 20 milliamps, 23 milliamps, and it settles at 23, but you see how it's going back and forth, 22, 23, 22, 23, 22, 23, 22, 23. It's not a large range, but it's enough that I can see that the MacBook is trying to do something. So let's take the board out of the case and see if we can figure out what it is that's causing it to jump up and down like that. Wow, it's been a while since I've been on camera. That's me using a T8 screwdriver on a MacBook Air. That's pretty stupid. Okay, can we at least pretend that I remember how to fix a MacBook? Yep, totally dinosaur. Why do you use a ball mouse? I use this because my desk does not have a lot of space on it. So if I had a mouse, having to do this is like, oh, I hit my soldering iron, oh, I hit my mat. But if I have this, I can go all around the screen, just like this. The problem is that this Logitech is a piece of shit. So this is the M570. Don't buy this. This thing sucks. I have gone through several of them. It's not a good product. So it has this thing where even if you clean the sensors and replace the ball and all of that, it'll lose accuracy over time and become more and more aggravating. And it's really something where, like, again, I've cleaned it. One sec, just have to attend to a little bit of business. Sorry about that. I had to handle some business with my CPA. Working on a potential 501c3 that works and supports people in the repair industry through providing classes, education, guides in all areas, not simply just MacBook board repair like on my channel, but something that would supply that where it would pay for people who are the best in class in the field to create manuals and guides and videos on how to do all different types of things, whether it's screen refurbishing or iPhone data recovery or all different types of little things, as well as more effective lobbying. Like I'd really like to ramp up things like getting Google to allow AdWords, getting Google to allow repair people back on the AdWords platform again, and getting legislation moved forward faster than the pace of a snail. And, you know, we'll see. Someone reached out and said they were interested in donating to the cause. And how would, what would, someone pretty much reached out and said, what would you do if you had a real budget for this? I wrote them up, just a basic little list of what it is that I would do if I had a real budget for it. And now we're going to find out if they were pulling my leg. I don't think they're pulling my leg. They seem like a nice person. But then again, money is money. Money is money. So we'll see what they do there. We'll see what they do there. I don't know if AirPods are fixable. You shouldn't fix them, though. They sound like shit. What the fuck are you doing with AirPods, man? Get rid of that shit. Get yourself a nice set of Idiomotics or something. Anyway, so let's take a look over this board and see if there's anything that stands out as obvious as to why it is we have 23 milliamps. So this is an 820-00165 MacBook Air. Basic board. It's going to turn on the multimeter. My wife got them for free. That's too expensive. Way too expensive. You paid too much for those. Anyway, so where is my multimeter application here? Where is my Paul Daniels software? Show up on the screen. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to go down the basic list of power rails. So, one of the main ones that is here is the PP bus of G3 Hot. 8.6, steady. All right. PP3V42 is present because we have a light on our charger. Don't know what you're talking about, Zane. I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you making an announcement about the new group now on the stream? Don't know what you mean. What is a CPA? A CPA is a certified public accountant, certified professional accountant, certified does my taxes for me so that I don't fuck them up. I don't know. All right, so we have PPV-RTC G3 Hot. We have PP5VS5. Here is where we missed PP5VS4. Wah, wah, wah. So this is going to be a good old missing PM Sleep S4L. These are medium gloves, Charles. Thank you very much. Everybody, a round of applause in the chat to Mr. Charles, who found these gloves and was generous enough to buy them for us. I could not find these things anywhere. I gave up trying to find nitrile gloves. Nitrile? 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 I don't know. I don't know how you pronounce it. The ones that don't suck. Latex leaves powder on you. Vinyl, it breaks real easy. But nitrile, yes! These don't break easy. All right, so I'm going to open up a schematic and a board view, and we are going to take a look at some things. So this is probably going to be your standard PM Sleep S4L missing disaster. P5E S4 RS3N. And this is P5E S4 RS3N here. Which comes from PM Sleep S4L. PM Sleep S4L comes from the PCH. Oh, PM Sleep S4L. Yep. So let's see what that is. It's going to be missing because that's always what's missing. Let's just confirm. This is what Paul would call not fair. Paul would look at this board and say that's not fair. Paul would be correct when he says that that's not fair. By the way, see that little indent over there on pin 2 on the right? See how there's an indent? I was actually able to hit pin 2 without the microscope. Isn't that kind of cool? Yep. 0 volts on PM sleep, and it's not jumping up and down either. It's just straight up dead. Aren't you happy, folks, that there's a missing PM sleep S4L on the desk? Yay! Very dusty, pubesy board. Now remember, corrosion in my U1950 area can be a cause. And I don't see corrosion, I just see a lot of dust. But wait, that's a green thing. What is that green thing? Do you guys see what I'm looking at? That's some green shit right there. That's some green. I see green. Green! You gotta admit, that's kind of hard to see. Like, if I didn't know to look there from previous cases, I really wouldn't have looked there. This is what we call the Hail Mary. This is what we call the please be this, because if it's not this, I don't know what it is, and I give up. Green is the color of hope. Yes, it is! Yes, it is, folks. Thank you. The camera is not focusing. The camera is not what focuses. I do. So it's I'm not focusing. Your problem is not with the camera, it's with me! Oh man. New York City is so fucked. Like, it's so fucked, I don't really know exactly what to do about it. I don't see a recovery to this. I really don't. 25% have not paid rent since March. That's with the CARES Act and the $600 in unemployment. Now, maybe that's because that actually isn't enough to pay rent in this city. Maybe that's because there were a bunch of bullshit stipulations that kept people from getting it. I mean, if the stipulations for that were even a quarter as ridiculous as the PPP shit, then I can only imagine. But yeah, like, man, that's a mess. That is such a mess. And like, this city was already barely hanging on by a thread there, because for all you hear about all the wealth in this city, there's a lot of wealth, but there's also way more broke people that are barely clinging on with your $2,000 to $3,000 shitty tiny apartments. And yeah, you may say that some of those people are going to leave. You may say that some of those people will be leaving the city. A lot of them are going to be staying and just becoming more disagreeable, shall I say. Disagreeable. Don't worry, leave it to me. I know how to fix New York. Die, Spectrum, die. I take your dollar and I light it on fire. Kaliko says wealthy only use New York to launder or invest money. You know, there's a really interesting article on this. It was New York real estate is the new Swiss bank account. And it really is. Because a lot of the housing here, because typically the more conservative argument is, well, you have way too many restrictions and regulations that make it difficult to build new housing. If you built new housing, you wouldn't have a housing problem. And point taken. If you make it more difficult to build housing, there'll be less housing. Less housing means housing shortage. Housing shortage means price go up. Price go up mean it. However, you also have the issue that when new housing is created, it winds up being marketed to people that don't live here at prices that people live here would never be able to afford in their lives. And I mean, even if it was at prices they can afford here, it doesn't even matter because it winds up being bought up by people who were laundering money in other countries. Like New York is a big, like this has been a spot for years to launder your money from another country in. Let's drink some water before we try this out. That's why even when there is a real estate crash, it's not something that particularly excites me because it's all going to get, if there's even a minor dip in prices, it's just going to be bought up by people who are looking to wash dirty cash, not people who live here. Okay, so we got 23 milliamps, and we did not solve our problem, did we? We did not solve our problem one bit. Is our SSD shorting PP3v3SO to ground, perhaps? Maybe, maybe not. That would be interesting if it was. Let's see, one way to find out, right? Oh no! Refurbished board! Why didn't I notice this sooner? It says FRU on it. It has Apple and that little sticker. This is going to be a refurb, isn't it? You're an Apple refurb board, aren't you? Yeah. That's what Erica would do. She would make that little noise. She makes these very strange noises of like a cartoon creature or something. All right, knowing this is an Apple refurb board means knowing that anything can be screwed up on it. So oh, what is the first thing that you see there? Really? You left corrosion, minor sign of corrosion on the SMC reset resistor. So that's not going to be it. Because we... Alright, let's look for hints. Tell me if you see anything. What do you see? Okay, you see a reworking of the Thunderbolt area. That's flux on the board. Do you even ultrasonic, Apple? Do you even ultrasonic, Apple? The gloves I'm currently rocking are yellow. I hate the latex gloves. Yeah, latex is the worst. Followed by vinyl, then you get nitrile, which are much better. Oh, man. Okay, so I'm going to guess if there was rework here that they did something with a Thunderbolt circuit. So I'm going to take a look at Thunderbolt power rails later. Wait a second. What is this shit? I can't even tell if that's pubes or damage. Like, what is this? Okay, so that's just really nasty pubes. But it looks bad, doesn't it? Hiss. Whoa! Oh-ho! There you go! Bada bing! So you had corrosion around the... Looks like that hair by the clock chip was it. So this MacBook was a refurbished MacBook. It looks like it was one of the Apple refurbished ones. And it looks like they missed the fact that there was a corrosion by the SMC reset resistor. Minor nastiness by U1950. They left the flux on the board. They left the effing, like, I don't want to hear any of this. I use too much flux shit. You know what? I may use 30 cc's of flux for every board repair, but you know what I do after I'm done with it? It goes in an ultrasonic cleaner for about 2 to 4 minutes, washes everything off at 60 Celsius with Branson EC. Then it goes into a vat of alcohol. Then it gets dried off by air. Then it gets put in an oven for about 230 Fahrenheit for half an hour to an hour. And then we reassemble it. But yeah, this is... Every now and then you'll get some of these Apple refurb boards and... Oh, man. Yeah, like, next time I go to a... That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Cut. Chop chairs. Chop chairs. Chop chairs. Chop chairs. Choppy chairs. Choppy choppy chop 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 chairs. Choppy chairs. Chazzy chop. Choppity chaz. Choppy choppy chaz. Choppy choppy chaz. Chazzy chazzy chop. Choppy chop 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 chaz chop chaz. Choppy choppy chaz. Chazzy chazzy chop. Bong? No. Low bong? Huh. Low bong? Low bong chop. Low bong chaz. Turns on, then turns off randomly. Fuck that. Next. Random kernel panic. Fuck that. All right, G1. Let's take a look at this. G1.
Oh, really? Yeah. The last time I was there was that.
Oh boy. Gains have arrived. Have gains arrived?
I was wondering when you get here. I forgot how heavy plates are.
Have gains arrived?
Yep.
Gains have arrived. Company gym. Fixed my missing PM sleep.
What was it?
Green hair by the clock chip. It was an Apple refurb board. It had green hairs everywhere. There was green hair on U1950. I removed that. It still didn't work. There was this Flux by Thunderbolt. That wasn't it. I saw that. I was looking at every single chip, and I saw that there were green hairs. Not even corrosion. It was like hair by the clock chip, and that did it. That is such a troll.
That's not fair.
I had to go over that at 45x.
I would clean all kinds of shit. I would replace all kinds of shit, and I would find out that it's a ditzy piece.
No, it said Apple. It has the word FRU on it and a little Apple sticker, and I thought, oh goddamn. That means that but their refurbing standards are shit.
Yeah.
Like I may use an entire thing of flux on the board, but at least it gets ultrasonic after.
Yeah.
It's supposed to at least when leaving. Gains have arrived. Company gym. Are you ready for deadlifts later? Deadlifts.
Deadlift?
Deadlifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Company gym. Company gym, baby. I got a squat rack, a barbell, a bunch of plates, and a bench. And an Olympic bar. Huh! It's been almost 4 months since I worked out. Hey everybody, how's it going? So let's get started working on yet another MacBook. It doesn't work properly. Here we have an A1502 and A20-4924 board that's not functioning, and well, today what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure out why it's not functioning. Looks like everything's already been unplugged from this MacBook. We are going to turn on the power supply, plug this thing in, see how much power it takes, and see if it turns on. Alright, it says it's taking 0 amps, which is clearly bullshit. No way that's possible. I'm just going to see if my power supply and charger are not working properly by plugging in the board I just fixed. The board that I just fixed is taking 500 milliamps with a fan spin, so my charger is working. That is really strange. I've never had a 0 amps before, like 0.000. That is so strange. That is really, really weird. Okay, let's take the board out of the case and see what's going on with this strange MacBook. Papa D, that's awesome. I almost teared looking at my chat, seeing someone say that their Bafang goes 19.9 miles per hour. They were inspired by mine to make one. Where do you live? I'm curious. Like, do you live in an area where there's additional freedom afforded to you by having that? Or do you live someplace where everybody can drive at 50 or 70 miles an hour just to go to the grocery store and they're like, get off the road with your freaking bike? The DCN board never goes bad on the A1502s. I'm more likely to blame the input MOSFET. Why is that the case, Remdog Cap? What are your feelings regarding the death of Naya Rivera? I don't know who that is. I have no idea. I don't really follow much in terms of, I don't know, pop culture and shit like that. I'm assuming this is pop culture. Let's see. I Googled. Naya Rivera is an American actress, model, and singer. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't really follow like actresses and models and all that stuff. So I don't really have a thought because I don't really know who that is. I don't know. If someone died, I think that's terrible. You know, I'm sorry to hear if a good person died. That sucks. But I don't really follow their lives or anything like that. So it's kind of like the same thing as if you said, you know, some random person on the street today died. I'd say, you know, that I'm sad. I'm sorry it happened, but, you know, it is what it is. People come, people go. No one gets out of this alive. All right, let's dig into this MacBook. Okay, so we have an interesting case here because there is corrosion over here. This is going to be where the power for CPU vCore is created, part of that. And we have here for the clock chip. However, neither of this has anything to do with the fact that when I plug it in, the charger doesn't give me anything. Like nothing. Gives zero. Gives zilch. So we have multiple things that we have to fix here. It's going to be a multivariate problem. So if we take a look at something like, let's say, PP342, obviously that's not present because you have nothing present. Take a look at what's on the input. Yeah, like you're getting 1 volt to the input of PP342. So 1 volt is coming through the entire system. So this is going to be annoying. Died while out in the lake with her son. They found him floating alone on the boat. Okay, that's a little strange. You know, that sounds a that's strange. I gotta say that's weird. You know, that's a little weird, little suspicious. But again, what do I know? Any parent that's going to be by themselves in a lake on a boat with a toddler is tragic. No brain led to her death and her son being without a mom. That's a little harsh. I mean, I've never gone on a. I don't. I've been on the Staten Island ferry, but other than that, I don't really think I've been on a boat before, that I remember. Like, how dangerous is being on a boat? You know, like if you're in a lake on a boat, is that real? Like, do you have to worry about sharks? Do you have to worry about aliens coming? Do you have to worry about? I don't see it. Again, I'm not someone who travels in lakes very much. I don't really know much about the dangers because it's not something I do. But is it really that dangerous to be on a lake with a boat? Like, do you have sharks? Do you have like killer whales? I don't understand it. You know, I don't get it. Maybe, I mean, I can swim, so, you know, like lakes are also not like the ocean where you have these gigantic waves and all that. I really don't get it. I don't understand. I'm sorry. Like, again, if as someone, I don't have any experience going out on lakes. You know, I've seen lakes. I've seen people in boats on lakes, and it looks like the most inconsequential shit in the world. I can't, like, even if you wind up getting tossed off of your boat somehow or you slip, I can't imagine why you just can't swim or, you know, I don't know, do something. I don't, again, yeah, I really don't get it. Sorry. You know, like, it's sad. And it is kind of suspicious because due to how seemingly not dangerous being on a lake is, it just kind of make me wonder what happened there. Anyway, let's get back to actually fixing shit. I'm like theorizing what happened to a celebrity. It's like this is becoming. I just can't do it. All right. So I have a MacBook. The resistors themselves look fine. The main thing I'm going to replace is the chip, because the chip could have been, something could have popped or went poof or whatever when liquid hit it. A resistor is a simple thing. It either resists or it doesn't. But this chip is a complex thing, and it's responsible for sending power to my CPU. Hello, Maraxes. How are you doing today? Paul Daniels? Is Mr. Paul Daniels here? Imagine this is time for him to get some sleep. That's a nasty resistor. We gotta go. Paul Daniels. I like that phrase that you guys came up with. Paul Down Under Daniels. Paul Down Under Daniels. Down Under Daniels. That kind of sounds like a porn name. That's a little bit of a porn name right there. Someone says the temporary weld seems very interesting. Usually it sticks to the contact on the board with the component without shorting to Or terminals together. Well, yeah, that's what it's doing here. You said usually as if this is different, but this is not different. This is pretty much the exact same thing. I don't check my voicemails, Clay. I haven't checked my voicemail in like 6 years. Yeah. Looks like Papa D voted for Ernie Chambers. Mr. D voted for Mr. Don't know what you're talking about, that dude. Do you now, if power for that LED is hard wires to webcam? I don't. Oh, you mean, is the light always on when the webcam is on? I don't know. That's a software thing, really. Come on. There we go. Really wish you fixed Lenovo's also, says Miguel. ThinkPads are designed with liquid resistance. I would go bankrupt offering liquid damage repair on those. I also tried to become a Lenovo Authorized Repair Center back in 2014. I did a video on that. It's called How the Authorized Repair Center is Forced to Screw the Consumer. It's an old video. These tweezers, I'm not feeling these tweezers compared to my old ones. I'm holding the chips above the board. That's why they're never actually getting a proper solder job onto the board. Like, that's going to flow into place once I heat the area above it to get that cap and resistor there. There we go. A, E, I, O, U. El burro sabe más que tú. That's how my 6th grade Spanish teacher taught us the vowels in Spanish. It's also the only thing I remember from school after 6 years of being forced to learn Spanish. Los zapatos es rojo. Los zapatos son azul. Yeah, okay, I shouldn't say only the vowels. I remember a little bit more Spanish than that. Yeah, I can't speak Spanish for shit. I remember when I was a kid, I'd like get home and I'm supposed to study for my Spanish class, and it's like, study for Spanish class, read debates in the /dot comment section. Study for Spanish class, read debates in the /dot comment section. I would read /dot comment section. Probably would have had a lot better grades if I spent less time reading the /dot comment section. But that's not the way it worked out. Okay. So now we fixed the stuff that was corroded that we would have had to fix anyway. The problem is that we haven't fixed the primary issue, which is nothing coming in on DCN. We still have nothing on DCN, so let's analyze that. First rail we need is PP342, so let's check that. Board schematics. All right, so 18 volts is supposed to come in around here. Let's just check fuse 7005. Okay, we have 17 volts there. And if I look over here, okay, that was measuring nothing before, and now we have PP342. So PP342 decided to magically reappear. Why is beyond me. Don't really get it. But now we're stuck at 30 milliamps, which is typically PM sleep S4L missing. Now my guess is that the CPU died because that chip was in horrible corrosion. Now the SMC is also corroded as well, so we're going to have to give the SMC a bit of a heating, and a refluxing and a reflowing and a refluxing and a rebowing. Rebowing. Rebowing, a verb. To reinvest taxpayer dollars into a publicly traded corporation. Rebowing. Your society is fucking you. Your society is fucking you. Trolling you. Die. You want to get rid of all this junk that's under the SMC. My flux kind of looks purple. You can't tell on the camera, but for some reason it looks purple on my screen, and that's weird. That's weird. Uh-oh. So we had 100 to 200 milliamps for a moment. Oh, you didn't see that. Try that again. We had 100 to 200 milliamps for a moment, followed by 0. What is up with that? Okay, we have 500 milliamps, and shortly we were going to have fan spin. As you can see, bada bing, bada boom, fan spin. So it looks like we had corrosion along the CPU V-core chip. Luckily, the CPU didn't get 12 volts because it's turning on and working. Clock chip, which would have been responsible for PPV-RTC, which is required for the PCH, which is located in the CPU in this to turn on and do all the things it does. And the SMC was corroded, SMC stands for System Management Controller. No management, no worky. That's about it. We ultrasonic this board, give it a little bit of a cleaning, and it's good to go. So, you know, just same old shit. Probably not really entertaining anymore. This is kind of getting boring for most of you, I imagine, because it's been 6.5 years of the same fucking content every fucking day, which is probably why the board repair videos I do get virtually no views in contrast to any other type of content I do, and not limited but not including to me petting my kitty. That's about it. See you all in the next video.